Actually, last year, when President Ma did the video conference with Stanford University, I was sitting in Taipei in the office of the president, because you know that from 2010 and to 2013, I was the Director General of Department of North American Affairs at the Foreign Ministry in Taipei. Actually, my department organized the 2011 video conference with CSIS. In that one, President Ma presented his concepts of 3 lines of defense for national security for Taiwan, ROC. Probably you remember that the first line was the institutionalization of the cross-strait relations. And the second line of defense was our contribution and the participation in international communities. And the third line of our national defense is the combination or cooperation of our diplomacy and the national defense. And we didn't do a video conference in 2012, but in 2013, last year, we did again with Stanford. And the title was Steering Through a Sea of Change. And Condi Rice, the former Secretary of State, was the chair of the panel in San Francisco. And this year, I noticed that President Ma's video conference had a title of Soar on Wings of Partnership. So we are from the sea to the sky. So see, we can feel the ambition and the goals and the missions that the government of the Republic of China has had for our future relations with United States as well as the other countries in the region, and also our commitments to our economic and trade efforts. And this is the 5th time that President Ma did the video conference with a think tank in the United States. And I had the opportunity and the privilege of organizing twice. But this year, actually I was the person who initiated the idea, made the proposal that not just the Washington, D.C. office, TECRO, but also all the TECRO offices should be able to do the seminar. So that's why we had this gathering last year and this gathering this year. So 我是始作俑者, if you know the Chinese. Anyway, I feel very much this is a very significant event, very useful. And one of the reasons, because this is, of course, effective public diplomacy. But one of the major reasons why President Ma has been doing video conference, from the end in Taipei and the other end in the United States, because I have to remind you that the U.S. government still has this guidelines with regards to Taiwan, that the president and the vice president, our premier and the vice premier, cannot visit the United States, can only transit in the United States, so that they cannot get invitations, say, from USC for hosting a conference or seminar himself in person. So he has to use this video conference method. Another guideline is that probably you don't know that our Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of National Defense, they can visit the United States, but they cannot visit Washington, D.C. But of course, President Ma transited in New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Hawaii many times now, and even previous presidents also transited in the United States. Thanks to the U.S. government's flexible policy, so President Ma can actually, during his visit, or transit, not visit, can be engaged in many meetings or many visits allowable or agreeable to the U.S. government. And so we appreciate that. But this is the reason why we need to use a video conference for President Ma to meet with the think tank and the academic people in the United States. And let me see, this I'm glad that President Ma actually did this one, because on the eve of celebrating or commemorating the 35th anniversary of the Taiwan Relations Act, which indeed, just like President Ma referred to, is that President Carter de-recognized ROC and switched recognition from Taipei to Beijing. However, the TRA, the pass of TRA, Taiwan Relations Act, is another form of re-recognize Taiwan, ROC, in a way to offer the commitments of U.S. commitments and concerns over the security of Taiwan and the military sales to Taiwan for the defense needs, for the adequate, necessary defense articles. And this has been very important, but also President Ma did mention the 6 assurances in 1982 when President Reagan was in office, before signing the August 17 communique with PRC. Actually, President Reagan offered to President Jiang Jingguo and to ROC government that the 6 assurances. What are the 6 assurances? A couple of weeks ago, actually, the Taiwanese community invited me to deliver a special presentation on the 6 assurances. I'd like to once again, just in case you are not too familiar with this, these 6 are: number 1, U.S. government will not consult with PRC in terms of military sales to Taiwan. U.S. government will not set a date to terminate military sales to Taiwan. And third, U.S. government will not amend or change the Taiwan Relations Act. And the U.S. government is not changing its position over the status of Taiwan. And number 5, U.S. government will not force or push Taiwan to negotiate with mainland China. And number 6, United States will not act as a mediator between the 2 sides of Taiwan Straits. So these are the Taiwan Relations Act and the 6 assurances are so important, so instrumental for the Taiwan's and the U.S. relations, and actually it's all affected Taiwan's position and the relations with mainland China and the countries in the region. And perhaps I also want to bring your attention to the efforts that actually ROC government or President Ma administration working very hard trying to achieve or to make progress on our economic and trade competitiveness in the region and in the world. So he mentioned a lot about our efforts in TPP and RCEP, and also bilateral investment agreement with the United States, and also all kinds of economic and trade initiatives with all the trade partners for Taiwan. That last year actually Taiwan accomplished signed the agreement, FTA, but in different names, ECA with New Zealand and STEP with Singapore. And we resumed the TIFA talk with the United States last year, and this year it's just been concluded. And Japan and Taiwan signed investment agreement 2 years ago. All these are the kind of efforts that we try to do. And also from our region, my office, for instance, we serve Southern California, New Mexico, and Arizona. But for me to report to you that we are very appreciative that actually the New Mexico legislatures and the Arizona legislature, they all passed the resolution supporting Taiwan's being included in TPP and supporting our bilateral investment agreement with the United States. And also last year, for instance, the governor of Arizona, Janice Brewer, made a visit to Taiwan. Actually, he understands very much our needs to work together to strengthen our trade relations. And so that's one of the examples that we are making a lot of efforts also. And also I'm very glad to know that just reading on the newspaper that the U.S. Department of Commerce actually issued some statistics reporting that last year, after the visa waiver program, Taiwan included as a member to the United States, and our passengers and visitors to the United States last year actually is about 30% of increase of the that of 2012. So this all being instrumental and beneficial to the bilateral trade and tourism and business. And also I would like to once again express our appreciation to such as our good friends, bipartisan members in the Congress, in House and the Senate. And just a couple of days ago, in the House, actually, President Ma also mentioned, and Royce, the chairperson of the Foreign Affairs Committee in the House, and has supported this passing of the Taiwan Relations Act affirmation and the Naval Vessel Transfer Act of 2014 to strengthen again the Taiwan Relations Act and the security commitments of the United States in the region and our international participation. I think the President Ma also mentioned that the kind of roles that Taiwan would like to play in the international communities, such as we like to be a peacemaker, not a troublemaker, and looking at the Taiwan Straits, but comparing that with Korea Peninsula or your Ukraine, Crimea situation, or Middle East. So we can all appreciate the kind of efforts in the cross straits. And the humanitarian aid providers, that's also one of the important missions that we like to accomplish. Some friends mentioned about the, in the past 6 decades that ROC Taiwan have made political miracles and economic miracles. But actually, these are not miracles. These are all the efforts of the people in Taiwan and the government in Taiwan, and also all the friends around the world for your cooperation and your assistance and your support. So I would like to just stop here and say we need to cherish so much for what we have achieved, but we have to look into the future and look into the directions that we need to work harder to continue that momentum for the benefit of the people of Taiwan, but also for the interest for the stability, peace, and prosperity in the region and as well to the world. To explain on the government position on this trade service, and actually I don't mind. People have different ideas, opinions, but the problem is that the democracy, law and order, and students should be students. Legislators should be legislators. Government should be government. Police should be police. That's how we believe. This is the right procedure. This debate, let them debate in the parliament. That's democracy. But this trade service agreement has been discussed for 2 years before it was signed in June last year. And it has been done so many times about the hearings and so many seminars and so many meetings with the leaders, with the legislators, with scholars, with experts. And it's hard to say this is a black box operation. And so many people don't understand what's in the substance. It's very normal in any democracy. People don't pay attention to it until someone really raised the issue. So this is not so extraordinary different from any other democracy. But I doubt any democracy with law and order can tolerate the behavior or conduct outside the law. But anyway, we try to have a resolution, and the government, at first the two parties agreed to have deliberations on the basis of article by article. But actually, now it's a deviate from that by bringing the students occupying the legislative yuan. But now, fortunately, that there's a solution that, we can go back to normal. So thank God, and then let them discuss this in the parliament. And no matter they agreed or not, but this is a democracy, and maybe we respect anybody's ideas and opinions, but let it be conducted in a lawful and constitutional way. Thank you.